Hi, and welcome to episode 23 of the Load Down podcast. This week, we take a look at the people who make Download the inclusive place that it is, as we talk about the Access Camp and its users. We talk to Ree Chandler, owner of the Download Disabled Camp and Access Group, to find out more about this part of the Download family.
This is the Load Down podcast. This is the Load Down podcast.
Hi, welcome back. Bit of a strange one tonight. We have no Johnny with us tonight. Johnny is in Tenerife this week, enjoying a bit of winter sun, so just me for a change. So we've had a bit of another busy week. A few more things coming out from Download, a few little bit of teaser things, I guess, with the post that Download put up the other day. So just to recap a little bit on that one, because I think it's quite important, really. There's a few interesting little bits on what's new for Download 2022. So District X reimagined. That's going to be an interesting one because, I mean, it only just became District X quite recently with the move on to, the tarmac lake and all that sort of jazz. So be interesting to see what they're going to do there. Guest area makeover for those in RIP and, on the guest lists and whatnot. That'll be hopefully a bit of a revamp to that one. It's been quite similar for quite a few years now, so that'll be good. We have some more food offerings, new destination bars. I don't quite know what that means. Upgraded toilets. That'll be news to many people's ears. We obviously put that post on that got a bit of attention the other week when the girls of Download put that as the biggest, gripe with the festival was the problems they were having with toilets. More screens. Now, this is another interesting one. So there's absolutely no further info as to what Download mean by more screens. I'm hoping perhaps something outside of the tents for when they get full. Obviously busted last year in Avalanche and Lamb of God on Dogtooth were spilling out of the side. So if they had a screen outside that tent for when the tents reach capacity, I mean, they don't have to switch them on before that for me, but because you don't want people just hanging around outside if, a band a bit lower down want to get the crowd in. So that'd be a good thing. And I'm also hoping for something on the side of the sound towers on second stage, because the crowd for the headliners there is starting to spill out right back towards the back of Main. So if you could actually see from the bars and, as far back as people tend to get, I remember putting in my feedback, I think they could do with some more delay towers on there for the sound so that you can actually see and hear better from where you end up, because for Pantera last year I got absolutely nowhere near. And another controversial one is the group camping. So they tried to introduce this at Reading and Leeds last year, and they also tried to introduce it at Download, and it went up and went back down again within a matter of hours. And the concept of this is you pay for a plot of camping space. And I think it's about £300, just shy of the £300 mark for a 6 metre by 6 metre squared plot. Which, my opinion is it's not great, especially when if you read through into the terms and conditions, it's in the middle of Red Camp, which is one of the most popular camps as it is. So personally, hoping that doesn't succeed, doesn't take off. There's a 10 by 10 metre option as well, which is, I think, over £500. Just feels like another way for Download to milk a bit of money out of people, to be honest, but we'll see how we go. Um, an important one for tonight's episode, and we'll talk about this in a little while, is the more walkways. So obviously for those of us without access needs and without the use of mobility aids like wheelchair users, anyone in motorized scooters or whatnot, it's going to be a big thing for those people especially. But it's also a good thing for people walking around as well. Um, Wellness and health support increased. There's quite a lot of big things here that they've put up just on a load of post-it notes on a whiteboard without actually delving any further into it, which is I think is a bit poor. But I mean, that can only be a good thing, can't it? More skulls. Who knows what that means? Hopefully, a bit more decoration in the area because that's something that Download lacks. And RIP Light in Thunder Valley. This one I found quite strange because you're looking about £700 for this option, which is actually more than I paid for RIP in the early bird sale. So you're paying £700. You do not get guest area access. You do not get to camp next to your tent, and you don't get a doggy bag. So I'm not quite sure what the benefits are there. You can go into all the RIP areas, if you want to hang out with your friends that are in there. Also, into the Park Farm Bar and the courthouse stage. But yeah, and I don't know. They don't really say what Thunder Valley is yet, so nobody knows. So yeah, quite a vague one, and also not put out as part of the Download family newsletter thing. So who knows? Um, and then it's been fairly quiet from the Download team. Apart from that, they've put a bit of a poster up about the Avalanche stage, a bit of a video with all the bands that are playing, which is cool. Lots of good things going on there. But apart from that, it's pretty quiet as we move along, hopefully, closer to those day tickets being announced, which I know a lot of people are itching for, especially for with the 3 days being quite distinctive, should we say. I know we've got friends waiting for the Green Day day, and we've also got friends waiting for the Corn Day as well. So, and obviously Sleep Token's going to have a big following going on for those. So yeah, we've got very little else really to discuss on that one. So tonight we are going to be joined by the fantastic Ree Chandler. And for those who don't know Ree, she is the Disabled Camp and Access group on Facebook. She is the owner and the chief admin of that. Just a quick point about it, just from their own bio. It's not run by or affiliated with Download or Fab Events, but they do have close links. They do have they do have lines open for information. And it states this group is a safe, fun, and friendly place to meet new people, get information and guidance about all aspects of Download Festival, alongside being a source of information, support, and guidance about all things access and disability. So yeah, we're just wanting to shine a bit of a, well, I say shine the weak light that me and Johnny have. Just turn that onto a very important aspect of the Download family. I've said it a lot in the past that I think they are some of the most hardcore and toughest people around to attend a festival like Download when they do have access needs and extra support requirements. I think it's tough enough, getting around without those requirements. So to turn up every year and grind it out for the all in the name of rock and roll, I think is absolutely fantastic. So I'll turn over to our interview now with Ree, and we'll have a little chat on the other side. So thanks very much.
This is the Lowdown Podcast.
So thanks everybody. We are joined now by Ree Chandler. So Ree, I'll hand over to you so you can introduce yourself to the listeners, a little bit about all you do for the Download community.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me on here to start
Thanks for
with.
joining us.
it's a little bit disconcerting sometimes doing these things, and I never know quite what to say. But yeah, I run I believe the largest Facebook group for disabled customers for Download Festival. I've been doing it for 10 years this year. And I kind of act as a bit of a liaison between the Access team, some of the other admins that work in other groups, and of course the disabled customers. And I get given a lot of information to pass out. I answer 1,000,001 questions every year from anything access related, and it can be literally from, where do I get my car parking ticket, to help, I've never camped before, what do I do? And that's pretty much what I do.
So, what's your download story? Apart from that, I mean, have you been a long time
Um,
attendee?
I mean, my first download was 2014. Um, I'd been to Leeds Festival the year before, had an awful time, said I was never going to a festival ever again, ever again. My partner was just like, good, because I'm never taking you again. Um, and then the lineup for 14 was around, and I was like, I can't not go. That's an amazing lineup. I was very newly severely disabled, and like I think it was about 3 weeks before the festival, somebody said, "Oh, you should apply for disabled access." And at that time, there was a tiny, tiny piece on the website about it, very little information, just like an email address, phone number. So I sent off my stuff, and I got accepted to the access camp. It was like the whole time we were driving there, my partner was like, this is never gonna work. Like, we're gonna get there and they're gonna turn us around. You've got it all wrong." We got to the festival, and obviously we did have access, which looked very different 11 years ago to what it looks like today. And we had a whale of a time in our first access, but I've never actually attended download as in like the Gen Pop campsites.
Right,
My partner
okay.
has, but I've always been in disabled in the access camp, so I've never had to do the 6 mile trot from the car park over the bridge with all my stuff. I've always done access. So I listen to the stories of people having to carry their stuff miles with sympathy and glee.
Yeah, it's quite extreme. My uncle went in 23 in his car. He tracked it on his watch, and it was 4.7 miles from his car
Wow.
to where he camped in, and that was when they moved quiet into the back end of nowhere.
Yeah.
So has it always been in the same place since you started going?
No, where it started off is actually where it went back to last year.
Right,
For the
okay.
first, I think, 14, 15, and 16, it was in the place we had it last year, which is just inside the entrance um, of the Donington Park circuit. And then they moved the camp to the racetrack. So we actually
Ah, right,
camped
okay.
on it's the Heineken Bend, which was great. It was fantastic, concrete. But the trouble was, it was a very finite space.
Right,
And
okay.
year on year, access has grown. So they've had to move it now to back down to where it was originally, but it's a much bigger, like 3, 4, 5 times bigger than it was when I first started going. As access just keeps growing and growing and growing. So no, it has moved. And I know that previous to that, it was in various other different places as well. I think at one point, obviously, when the festival was inside the track, it was in a different place to that. So it has moved around quite a bit over the years.
Yeah, I imagine that inside the track, like you say, with the a pretty much solid tarmac route to the festival, it must have been a quite a beneficial place to have it. So
It
that's
was. It was a very, very good place, but there were so many restrictive points about the campsite that no matter what the team did at the like, you could only get so many people in. And they didn't want to say, well, actually, no, we're going to have to cap that's as many people as we can. So they did everything they could to find somewhere bigger. And I mean, even on the fields that we were in last year, and I'm presuming this year as well, um, they do their best to put down tracking. But yeah, nothing can beat a very well maintained concrete path all the way to the festival entrance.
no. I thought just as an outsider to the group, I thought from looking from outside, the improvements in the last year in terms of the amount of track that they put down. It looked
It's
like there was, actual points and actual routes between where
yeah,
sometimes it looks like there's been gaps in those routes. I may
there
be right or
definitely
wrong there,
has.
but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I was actually on site last year. I volunteer to help the Access team on site as well during the festival. So I was there when they were finishing off the build last year, and we just happened to watch them put the path down, like these big, huge plastic interlocking blocks, basically, and they had thousands of them. I've never seen so many. And the time and effort it took to put them down, not just around the campsite, so that everybody had something solid, which thankfully we needed with the rain,
oh
but also across the arena. We'd never had the pathway from one side of the arena to, I think you went to main stage and I think you went up to second stage. And that was amazing. We've never had that before, ever. So that was
no,
absolutely fantastic.
no, that's great. And so, how do you think them changes come about? I mean, with your group growing, and I'm guessing you kind of bang the drum from your end of things, and do they reach back for feedback from you, from yourself, and
Absolutely, they do. I mean, every year really, I've been asked for more and more feedback. I do a feedback at the end of every year and send it to the Access manager. They also do their own feedback as well. After the festival, they'll get an email out to most customers that are signed up to the sort of the Access and download emails, and everybody is always encouraged to give feedback both after the festival and during, because there can be so many things that happen during a festival, certainly for Access customers, that can be fixed fairly quickly. So they're always wanting feedback, positives, negatives, anything that they can work on year to year. And I mean, the changes from 2022, 2023 to last year were immense, absolutely huge. Um, and I know a lot of people don't see the work that goes on behind the scenes. I was shocked, and I've been on site pre build a couple of years now, and it was just like, wow, I cannot believe what they've done. The trouble is, no matter what the team do, there's always going to be something not quite right because we're in a field.
yeah,
If it rains, in the nicest possible way, we're screwed because no matter what weather, if it rains, it's very difficult for Access customers to get about. Wheelchairs get stuck. If it's too hot, people are dehydrated. There's obviously no shade in the arena. So they do the best they can with what they've got, and they improve year on year. And last year was the best I've seen it since I've been going.
it's quite fortunate that the of the timing, really, like you said, the weather last year was. I mean, we got that
It was awful.
almighty rain, didn't we, on Saturday night, and then it was quite hot on the Sunday, so it turned the floor into like setting cement.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like even for an able-bodied customer, like wading through. I was in the arena just outside the main stage on the Friday when that almighty storm rolled in. We
Yeah,
watched it from the Access info point rolling across the sky, and that rain, like it's hard for everybody. But the trouble is with Access customers, like if you've got a wheelchair, if you've got crutches, sticks, a walker, you just get stuck. There's no two ways about it. As you say, it's like concrete setting, and even an able-bodied person is going to struggle
it
getting
hurts,
through
and
that.
it's you get home from download and you feel every bit of every muscle in your body's aching in ways you didn't know it could ache.
Yeah.
Sunday during Avenged Sevenfold, every time I went to jump up during a song, it pulled my wellies off.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's. I think, and I said this to you when we were chatting in previously. It's why I think the Access group users are you know, the absolute hardcore of the download attendees because
Oh yeah.
to overcome these things with the help of the Access team, but to do that all in the name of rock and roll, I think it's incredible. And I think the first time I really noticed it was in 2016 during that awful weather then. And me
Yeah.
and my dad were watching, I think it might have been Breaking Benjamin, and there was a gentleman in a like a horizontal like full-bodied wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he just looked like he was having the time of his life despite it all. And
Mhm.
I just thought, this is those. It's absolutely fantastic. Really, really.
It really is amazing to watch. Some of the customers, you just think, how are you doing that? Like you are amazing, and you're not letting anything at that moment in time get in the way of the fun you want to have. Now, no doubt, when they got back to the tent that night, they collapsed in a heap and didn't move for 12 hours, but it doesn't matter. They had fun. They were moshing with everybody else, and they are ridiculously hardcore. I mean, there's some of the group, they'll go straight from download to another festival, to another festival, to another festival, and it's like I have to recover for 2 weeks after download. I don't leave my house for 2 weeks. How are you doing this? So yeah, they are ridiculously hardcore, all of them.
Do you have any, obviously not naming anyone or anything like that, but do you have any favorite, stories of, how any good people that have, made you happy over the years that you think, God, I'm really glad I do what I do?
Um, so many, so many. Doing what I do, obviously, I've got to know a lot of the customers that come year on year. I've had a customer who will remain nameless carry a life-size inflatable duck, which is our group mascot, down the M1 on a trailer attached to a mobility scooter to carry it to me to present me with this giant inflatable duck. That was pretty impressive. Um, there's one of the ladies in the group, she's been going for years. She has featured as one of the people of Download, which she was so chuffed about. Like, she's been on a lot of the official correspondence and on the website. And it's just seeing it how, like, that sort of thing just makes them people so happy. And I know it gets said in a lot of the download groups, and the same goes for Access. We come home more so, I think, with the Access because it's somewhere where it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what you do. I've seen people like slip down in the mud in their pajamas on the way to the Portaloos in the morning, get up, laugh, and carry on drinking. And that is just it's amazing. It's fantastic. Um, there are
Yeah.
just I'm trying to think of anything. There's people without naming any names.
It's
There
like
have
you say
been
though,
many,
getting
many things.
getting back to download and being amongst people with similar interest to you, just as an able-bodied person, and I feel like I'm home for that. So then you coupling that with then people who have got similar stories, similar requirements, and things like that. That's kind of doubling it, isn't it? Into these
It
people,
is, and I mean,
these are our people.
yeah, well, I mean, there are groups of people, myself included. We have groups of people that we've kind of collected each other throughout the years of going to download. And the only time we really see each other is at download. And I know that's true for a very large proportion of Access as well. You'll bond over something on site during that week, and you end up camping with them the next year, and then you're at their weddings the year after, or you go on holiday together, and that happens time and time and again. It really is just like coming home, and you've got your entire family there. And that is one thing about the Access community. They are really quite open to anybody new, anybody that's like, we get a lot of people year on year, they've never done a festival, or they've done it in Gen Pop, but they've recently become ill or had an injury, disabled, whatever it is, and they're scared and worried. And every single one of the group and Access customers as a whole, they just embrace them, pull them in, and they're one of us now. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are, what's wrong with you. You're one of us now. And that, I think, is what makes specifically the download disabled customers very, very special.
I've made a note, and I think I said this in a message to you as well. I mean, everyone's unique, and in the Access community, it's being so. It must be really challenging, because you're having to tailor advice that has to be unique to an absolute individual, don't you? So how challenging is that? How They must throw up quite a
Extremely
lot.
challenging. Extremely challenging. For quite a few years, I did a lot of it myself, and I learned. I mean, I'm disabled myself. I've got a smorgasbord of different disabilities, but there are so many, as you say, different. Even just with one disability, it can affect five different people very differently. So you do have to tailor what you're saying. And there's a lot of people that have got like sort of a ASD, autism, any kind of like neuroprocessing issues. Sometimes things can get misconstrued really easily when you're trying to give advice. So you have to really think, is what I'm saying going to come across in any negative way? And that can be tough because you never know how somebody's going to perceive what you're saying. On the whole, we get it right. Occasionally, not so much, but people learn. But it can be challenging. But it's just a case of listening to people. I've tried my hardest, and I'm sure I haven't succeeded at every step. But to learn about different things that people are going through, how a certain disability or impairment affects people differently, because my experience isn't going to be the same as everybody's, and vice versa. So you just
No.
have to listen and hopefully get it right.
Yeah, like I have type 1 diabetes, and from growing up with that, I'm aware of how people who aren't as aware or educated about matters will just go, well, I knew someone like that and they didn't have to do that. And
Yeah,
it's like, well, that's not my story. That's not the condition as it kind of has presented itself to me, you know. So I think people
we have a
on the whole are getting better, aren't they? But there's still obviously ignorance.
I mean, we have a rule in the group, and I've had this instilled in the group, and I won't tolerate it. It's what we call disability top trumps,
Yeah,
which is, well, I've got that, or, my friend's cat's mother's got that, and that doesn't happen to her. Well, I don't care. It
no,
happens to this person, so therefore it's valid. And, you know, I have a condition that is it's quite a rare condition, but there's actually quite a lot of us in the disabled community for Down that have that same condition. Every single one of us is affected completely differently.
yeah,
There will be crossovers, but I can't deal with it. I won't deal with it. It's not fair on anyone. Like, if somebody broke their leg, and you wouldn't be like, well, my friend broke her leg and she didn't break it like that. Well, no, because people break their legs
in
differently.
totally
It's
different
it's
ways.
exactly
Yeah,
the same thing.
and I don't know
Um,
who that's making feel better at all. The person saying it or the person receiving that
I really don't know. Even
it
after
doesn't
all
do
this time of
any
doing
good.
it, I still don't know what people like do it. And it comes in peaks and troughs. Some years will have a lot of issue with that. Some years it's just nobody. And hopefully, as people get more aware of the different types of disabilities, um, obviously a lot of disabilities are now much more sort of accessibly available to be learned about, to talk about. Hopefully, the disability top trumps kind of thing will subside, but it is still an issue that gets dealt with. I mean, even in the last year, people do say on site, there are some people that just don't understand, and it's not always a malicious thing.
No,
Most of the time, it's a misunderstanding, or just not having like the information. Like, you will see, so like myself and one of the guys that runs the group with me, we are both ambulant wheelchair users, and people will see you in a wheelchair and they were like, right, that person can't walk.
yeah,
And then I'm obviously like, fixed because I can stand up and walk out of my wheelchair. Well, no, but like,
yeah,
not everyone that's in a wheelchair is can't walk. And it's just people don't always realize that. You kind of see things as you're growing up, and you don't always realize that, oh, okay, actually there are people that can walk but use a wheelchair to make things better for them,
yeah,
not because they can't walk. So that's something I think the entire disabled and access community still fight against quite a lot.
yeah. So how did the group come to be?
Well, it was actually another lady who actually started the group, um, and brought me and my other admin aide on board to help her. She was actually just trying to find friends in the disabled campsite for the year she was going. And it went from like, I think 15, 20 people. myself and Aid got involved, and it snowballed. And then we were helping new people coming in, and all of a sudden we were at like, I think 700 people. Like, how did that happen? But because of what we were doing, and we were giving the information out to people, we were providing support. Um, People talked about it, and I then got involved and met the then access manager, and we kind of got involved doing stuff on site, doing like customer liaison. So if somebody had a problem, they could come to one of us. There was, I think, 4 or 5 of us at the time. They could come and report a problem. Every day we'd go and meet with the access manager, report those problems back, and they'd hopefully get fixed. Not all of them could be. And it kind of skyrocketed from there. People heard about us, more people joined. I got to know a lot of the other admins in the other groups as well. So we were all sort of signposting each other. And here we are at nearly 5,000 people 10 years later.
That's amazing. Really, really well done. That's how I became aware of the group, because whenever anyone asked in the main, Download Festival group for an access query, they would always be, it'd be Trish or Siobhan or someone would tag, this is the place, you need to go.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I joined through the podcast, but just as a way to see information, how things develop. I mean, the fact that for the download team, it must be amazing for them having that liaison there, so they can get. I mean, so they haven't got 5,000 people trying to. They've got a dedicated channel, and they can make things better for everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's when I took over full time in I think it was about 2016, 17, and I took over the group. That's what I wanted to do. I remember when I first went, there wasn't somebody really. There was the forums, and there were some great people on those forums, but a lot of people were using Facebook, and there wasn't a lot of information out there. So I remember how scared I was, how nervous, how like I had no idea what I was doing. So I always have said, like, that's what I want the group to be. And I really do hope that what I do is a positive, not only for the customers, but for the teams at Live Nation, at Fab, because not, to the best will in the world, they haven't got time to do some of the pastoral stuff that we do, that is integral to like the access customers. There've been many, many, many years where I've been sat up at midnight answering questions about, like, what do I need to bring? I don't know what to do. How do I handle this? And that isn't something that the company really would get involved in. So that's where we sort of step in. They can also always give me information, and have done over the years. I put out updates, just to try and get that flow of information, because with access customers, it's so important that any changes can have huge repercussions, and the earlier they know about it, the better they can deal with it. And that's where I come in. I can get the information out to them really quickly. I can answer questions. So hopefully, I really hope that the team do like the fact that we do this, and that I'm, for better or for worse, the figurehead for the access community now.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because otherwise they're just kind of putting a blindfold on themselves and just, trying the best, but not doing it with it. You're giving them live feedback throughout the festival, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I try to, and that's the thing. It's like, I always try to make sure that the team know if there is like a certain issue or theme that's coming up. I let them know so that they've got some insight, like, oh, okay, that's something we need to look at urgently. And the same with, like, they will give me information to pass out to the customers, as well as the official emails. Recently, the website has been updated really, really well, and there's a load more information on there. But you still have people that don't like going and searching information. They want it at their fingertips. And I imagine that if I wasn't, and my guys that helped me run the group weren't answering these questions, I think the increase in emails would go up quite substantially.
Yeah. No, that's right, and it must be an amazing feeling for someone to join in your group and thinking there's 5,000 people on here,
Yeah.
that are using this facility, this extra accessibility part of download. It must be really quite heartwarming to think, I'm not alone in this extra requirement that I have.
Yeah, I think, I mean, year on year, the majority is we get some such good feedback for exactly those reasons. I'm not alone. There's somebody else out there that has had exactly the same feelings, worries, and concerns and questions as I have. And I'm somewhere safe that I can ask them without fear of being laughed at
Yeah,
or being told it's a stupid question. So I really, we do get really good feedback, and I hope that people do like. I mean, people come and stay all year. They don't leave. Some people do, some people don't. But on the whole, I've got a lot of people that are there year round. They'll post things year round about everything music, everything access. Um, and I really hope it is a safe and a place that people can come to feel that way, especially new people that have never done this before, because it's terrifying.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's really it's wonderful. I take my hat off to you. It's a fantastic thing you're doing. I just wanted to ask as well. So, what do you think the biggest positive changes in the way things are set up at Download are now for Access customers?
I think certainly this year, one thing that's always been a little bit contentious is having to wait quite a long time to apply for the access facilities.
Yeah,
Usually, historically it's been January, February time. This year, for the first time, well, last year, they opened the applications so much earlier. People were very, very glad. They had their access sorted before Christmas, which is huge because a lot of the things that people have been saying over the years is like, well, we don't know, are we going to get a space in access? And 99% of the time it was, of course you are, but it's still a concern. It still causes anxiety, and the team have absolutely kicked it out of the park this festival, starting the access applications early. Most people are done, dusted, have got their applications. That is a huge game changer, and the team have done amazingly to get that in place. Um, so yeah, so that's absolutely huge, and I think a lot of the small changes that they're making, little things like we had a merch stand on our campsite last year.
oh wow.
We've never had that, and it was only small. Don't get me wrong; it didn't have like the huge range, but just the fact that they were able to provide a small little merch stand with the majority of the stuff that people wanted. And if people couldn't get to District X or into the arena and they wanted something, it was there for them. That was huge.
Yeah,
Absolutely massive.
and I've
Um,
noticed, and I don't know if it definitely wasn't there before or anything, but just in the last few years, I've noticed the lowered sections of merch stands, of eateries and places. The vans and things have lowered bits so that obviously people are more in wheelchair users, um,
yeah.
can
I mean,
order.
they
And
have been there, certainly on the bars and the merch stands. Um, I think I'm right in saying that they have been there for quite a few years. It's just that I think recently, the last sort of 5 to 6 years, certainly since COVID, they've been signposted more. And there could definitely be more signposting.
yeah,
But I think people are now seeing it more, especially people who possibly weren't aware of it previously, because it is now becoming like a much more thing. It used to be a thing that a lot of the food vans didn't provide a lowered counter space
yeah,
because, especially like the trailer kind of burger and chip vans, there was nowhere. And you've seen over the last couple of years, staff will come out to access customers. They'll come out to wheelchair users, and that is so huge because it gives a disabled person so much more confidence and um just I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. Independence.
yeah.
If they want to go and get something to eat, they can. If they want to go and line up to get something to drink, they can. That's huge.
The burger vans are high for me, and I'm 6'2". Do you know what I mean? Stood up, and I'm still kind of
Yeah,
have to reach up for my food. So
exactly.
yeah, they're not
So
ideal.
someone that's at like your sort of waist height, it's impossible.
Yeah, no, that's
But yeah, no, that's it's they try so hard year on year to make as many of those as possible. Year on year, we have like more toilets in the arena. It's never enough. It will never be enough, ever.
No.
I've seen many access managers cry over toilets and how many they have, and there's never ever enough. But yeah, I mean, the little things that the teams are doing, um, that you possibly wouldn't even realize make such a big impact on a disabled access customer are huge.
Yeah.
Like being able to have everything squared away. And it really is like, okay, so I've got my access, I've got my access card, everything's sorted. I can now not worry about that till April. Whereas in previous years at this time, it's been a panic, people are worrying, and just taking that small little thing away is huge to the access community, because
Yeah.
they don't have the luxury of like, oh, I can just turn up and it doesn't matter if I get no communication, like somebody in Genpop can do. They have to plan.
No,
And
that's right. Some of my
it's
friends
huge.
don't buy the tickets till a day or two before. And it's,
Exactly. And
yeah.
an access customer can't, I mean, there's some people do, but a large proportion that, they need time to plan. We, on as a generic thing, take a lot more equipment.
Yeah.
We take a lot more stuff. I mean, you should see my car when we're getting ready. It's like, why have I got all this stuff? This is ridiculous. Like, but it's just a reality for us
Yeah.
as people with injuries, illnesses, disablements. You need more stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I know that on a low level because I have to take my, insulin set changes and medicines and things like that. And
yeah,
then my uncle has sleep apnea, and so there's people that need charging and things, need mobility aids charging, don't they? Like motorized
yeah.
wheelchairs, scooters, things like that. So there's so much to think about.
Even
Um,
things like airbeds, like you have to think about, like, where can I, I've got a 3-layer airbed that needs pumping up with an electric pump. Where do I do it? And the access team provide that with a charging tent if they need it. Where am I going to put my CPAP? You can apply for certain facilities to help you with that. And you can't do that on 2 days' notice.
no. So, Ray, just following on from that one, just when you were saying about the big positive changes, is there anything that you think could be easily, introduced that you'd like to see put in?
Oh, I've got a list. Easily put in, probably not, because everything that has changed and gets put in, there's so much on the back end that has to be thought of, from the team and all of the teams, like the production teams that are involved. I say that the merch stand was huge, so we finally got that. Um, we have always sort of had a thing about we don't get great food options in disabled.
Right. Okay.
And usually because we are one of the smaller camps. So obviously we all know it costs a lot of money for a trader to come to download. So they want to get the biggest amount of footfall they can. So one thing that I have always sort of said is like, please, 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 can we have something like they have, that does a bit of everything.
Yeah.
The one we had last year was great, but only did sort of crumpets and toast
Right. Okay.
and that kind of thing. So that's a big thing. It's like, and that's something that customers are always saying, please, can we have a much more comprehensive food option in the camp? Because sometimes, I'm terrible for it. If I'm feeling tired or I just I'm done for the day, I don't want to have to go into the village or back into the arena, and I don't want to send my PA to go and get me food. So having that would be great. How reasonably easy that would be to install, I don't know, but it is something that we go on and on and on about every year.
Is there anything like in the way of like a little shop or anything?
Not in access, no.
No.
We have to go to the to District X or into the arena, same as everybody else.
Yeah.
Again, one thing that we were trying to push forward was having some kind of conversation with one of the traders. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say their name. That do a lot of tents and camping equipment in the village in District X,
All right. We can
having
say
some
Fat
kind of.
Franks. Fat
We
Franks.
can say Fat Frank.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. They're good. They're good.
Like
Good guys.
one of the things that is like can be difficult is for customers to, if they're coming by public transport especially, is carrying a tent, airbeds, chairs, and all the stuff that comes with that. But then equally, if they were to order it from Fat Frank's, they've still got to get all the way over to District X, bring it all back. So something that would be great would be have to have like a drop off in Access. That would be game changing. But again, don't know how easy that's going to be to put in. It's something that I put in my own feedback, and I know a lot of other people have, but it's logistics at the end of the day. The team are doing as much as they can. We don't know what they've got in store for us yet this year.
No,
So you never know. We might get surprised.
yeah. I was just thinking as well when you were talking about District X. I mean, District X itself with the tarmac must have been a
Oh,
bit
it's
of a game
wonderful.
changer.
It's wonderful. I remember far too much of being in the old village when it was on the other side of the site.
Yeah,
Um, I think I'm trying to think what year it was.
19.
Possibly 19, I think,
Yeah,
because
they moved
we
it.
had flooding and it was awful. People, when we used to have a little minibus that used to take the Access customers from the Access camp all the way round to the village. But the trouble is, like when you got there, you couldn't move anywhere because, I mean, I'm sure you saw it as well. Boots stuck everywhere, people stuck in the mud. So when it was changed over to where it is now, it was wonderful because it's flat and there is a bit of gravel and that's unavoidable. But the whole like the where the stage is, where the dog tree stage is, it's amazing. I think it's dog tree stage in the
Hair with the dog.
District
No,
X.
not it's Doghouse.
Doghouse, that was it, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's amazing, you know, because although we are disabled, we like to pie as
yeah,
much as the next person. And if the village, well, when the village was on the grassy, muddy area, it was really hard. If you've been in the arena all day, it's not easy to then sludge through the muddy village. Whereas now, so it's all right. Yeah, okay, we're a bit tired, but we'll have a rest and then we'll go up there because it doesn't matter. It's on concrete. It really does make a huge, huge difference.
yeah. It's really good to see. And interestingly, and we were chatting about this in our the Facebook Messenger group we've got going. That was quite a vague bit of news from Download this week, wasn't it? With the post they put up about changes to District
Yes.
X and all things like that. But I thought there was some positive things in there, and especially there was more walkways was one, and
Yeah.
the toilet improvements being another. So that's definitely good. I mean, I think everyone's got a lot of questions, but we'll be interested to see how they develop.
Yeah. I'm hoping that whatever they're doing, is going to be positive for everybody. I mean, Access have gripes about certain parts of District X every single year. So I'm hoping that they can get fixed this year. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Hopefully
It
they're all positive and everyone loves them.
it does feel like they're listening to feedback. It seems like they are coming up with things that are, pertinent and actually answer people's questions, which is really good.
It
I
really
mean,
is. It's
there's
such a
there's
difference.
there's some dodgy things on there, like the RAP light and things like that. The booking group campings, I'm not so sure about. Paying a wedge of money to
Yeah,
get a patch of grass, but I suppose they've got to
yeah,
make money.
yeah. That's the
um,
thing. At the end of the day, yeah, they've got to make money, and if that works, great. If it doesn't, I'm sure they'll think of something else.
yeah. So, um, for new people with access needs and who might be thinking, well, I'd love to go to Download, but I've no idea how to even get started, with the application process and things.
Mhm.
Could you tell us a little bit just about, what you need to get started, please?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you need to do is get yourself to the Nimbus Access Card site. They are starting to be required for most festivals now. They do a paid for card, which is £15 for 3 years, or for each individual festival, you can get a free digital pass. And what that does is you send them all your information, all your doctor's notes, your benefit, like your PIP or DLA letters. They assess you, and it means they give you a card with little symbols on. And each symbol is like something like you get that the +1, which entitles you to a complimentary essential companion ticket. You'll have a toilet symbol, which means you need urgent access to toilets. And then you get your card. You don't have to send any other further paperwork out. So all you have to have is your card number. Then for download, and it is the same for most festivals now, they put out a application form. You fill in your details, you put your access card number in, and the team who are then reviewing it can then look at your card details and say, okay, this person has been approved for toilet access, camping, they need platform access and an essential companion. And that's it. They're pre-awarded it because they've got the access card.
Wow.
So the first thing is always get the access card because it's amazing. And it's not just used for festivals. It can be used Merlin Entertainments and places for music, gigs, everywhere. It's amazing, absolutely fantastic. You do have to fill in an application form every year. And that's just because obviously if they just gave like, oh yeah, you've got 3 years access, you never know how many people are going to come. So they do the application. As I say, this time it came out, I believe, I can't remember if it was the end of October or the beginning of November.
That's the application for download, isn't it? Not
for
the
download.
access, yeah.
Each year it does change slightly, but it's a very simple, very straightforward form. And as I say, with the access card, you don't have to provide any. Generally, don't have to provide any additional information. There will be occasional situations where the access card doesn't cover everything, so they might have to get a little bit more information or ask for more questions. And you fill in your form. It's a couple of tick boxes, and there's a big box at the bottom where you can put in any additional information. It goes off to the team, and then the team, certainly this year, get back to you within 5 days, which is amazing.
Wow.
So you're not sitting around waiting, and it really is as simple as that.
That sounds really streamlined, really, because then download don't have to then start actually assessing you as an individual in terms of what you need. It's all done for them by the Nimbus card, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the Nimbus card has been going for quite some time now. I've used mine so many times. It's amazing, and it does just make it. It means you're not having to send out your personal information time and time and time again as well. And the fact that once you've done it with download, like they can see what you've got. They don't have to keep checking back.
Yeah.
They know that you've got these particular symbols. They can give it to you. It means that the team behind and the production know, okay, we've got this amount of people needing this amount of people needing this very quickly. Whereas back in the old days when you had to send your PIP paperwork, a doctor's note, and Cthulhu had to come and, pray for you, it's all very simple now. And that's a positive for everybody that's having to use these facilities rather than having to find all your paperwork. Because I know most people, I know myself, I never can find the paperwork I need when I need it. But I've always got my card. So yeah, it's very simple, very streamlined. My personal opinion is it's a lot easier. I do know there are some people that don't always agree with that, but I think it is much, much more streamlined, and it's a great step forward.
It must remove a lot of anxiety as well if you're kind of sending off your stuff and then wondering what a festival or live music event's going to come back with. You know that I've got that. This is it. This is what I need, and that's what's going to come back.
And that's the thing. You've got it for, if you get the, well, in fact, if you have the paid one or the free one, it lasts for 3 years. So for 3 years you don't have to worry about getting all your evidence together. It's there in front of you, and I say a lot of people find that it lowers anxiety because you don't have to worry about it. It's just there.
Yeah, that's. It sounds like. Well, I mean, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense to me. So, I'm glad to hear that it works so well. So just yeah. So just wrapping up. I just thought I'll ask you a couple of questions just about download this year. Who are your your big hitters who you're looking forward to seeing?
Green Day, hugely.
Have you seen them before?
I have seen them a couple of times now, and I love them. We went to see them at Wembley last year.
Ah, well.
So I'm really excited to see them at Download. And Steel Panther.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen Steel Panther for a while, so quite interested to see them.
You get split opinions on Steel Panther these days. I
Yeah, you
quite,
do.
I quite like a tongue-in-cheek joke. So, but I kind of guess how it depends on how you take it. I'm quite looking
Yeah.
forward to Corn because I've kind of
I
never
keep
been mad
forgetting
on
that
Corn.
Corn are on.
I think a
Yeah, no,
lot
I
of
keep
people do.
forgetting. Yeah, I like Corn. I'll go and watch them.
Yeah, I've always kind of missed them at download because I've been watching someone else, and then because the
Mm.
headlining this year, I've gone right. I'm really going to turn my attention to Corn, and I've it's totally clicked into place
Yeah.
for me.
So
So
I always do that with Slipknot. I have never, in all of the years that I have gone, have I ever managed to see Slipknot.
wow, that is some
Something has
effort.
every I know, and that's something's always happened that I've like not been able to get to see Slipknot. So, I get that with Corn, but yeah, I'm trying to think who else is on the bill. Um, yeah, I mean, mainly it's going to be for me Green Day.
Brilliant. Who you hoping for next year then? Who's up high on your hit list?
I'm going to say probably I'm the worst person to answer this question because I'm not actually a massive metal fan.
Oh well,
So I'm going to say like I want somebody um, like Fall Out Boy was great last year, so I was really really pleased that they were there. Um,
someone like Blink or
Foo
someone.
Fighters, Blink, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd love it to be finally the year we get Blink or Foo Fighters after
yeah,
Green Day being, elusive for so long. It'd
yeah.
be good to
I
open the
mean,
door.
I had this conversation with some people a couple of months ago. I would love to see Eminem at Download. I don't think it's ever going to happen because they're obviously he's more of a sort of Reading Leeds type, but I think that he would go down amazingly. Or Kylie Minogue, get Kylie
Kylie
Minogue at
Minogue.
Download.
Pink. I've always wanted to see Pink.
Oh, Pink again, yeah, that
Well,
would be
I
amazing.
have seen Pink, but I'd like to see her. I think she would surprise a lot of people at download.
Yeah, I think she would. I think it'd be fantastic. I mean, they're branching out now with Busted and McFly. Why
Yeah,
not? Why not have Kylie and Pink on the main stage?
we're losing our heavy metal credentials here, Ree. We're going to be
We really are.
we'll be kicked out of these groups.
So when I start talking about Aqua on second stage, that's when I lose every piece of credential I own.
You never know. It's a slippery slope now with the
Wow,
Busted in
exactly.
McFly.
So you can imagine I was 100,000 people singing Barbie Girl. Who's not going to love that?
Well, you see it every year. Do you ever make it to Rocktail Cocktail?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always like that. It's
Yeah.
loads of metalheads in a circle pit to S Club 7 and the
Well,
like, and it's fantastic.
it's the video from I think it was inside one of the tents that they played Venga Boys before somebody came on, and the
That was
whole
at the
time was
pilot.
singing. Yeah,
I remember
like
that like it was
do it.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone,
yeah,
a huge circle pit to, yeah, the Venga bus is coming.
yeah. We were camped just down from Rockdale Cocktail, on the pilot, and you could see everyone like moshing to Barbie Girl and Venga Boys and S Club 7. It's like that's fantastic.
I love it
That is
because
amazing. Yeah,
some people don't get like irony and
yeah,
a bit of daft, fun time. Some people are so overly serious with their, this. It's got to be heavy metal, or
yeah,
I can't listen to it at all. I mean, it obviously can't become, you know, like Reading and Leeds is unfortunately kind of very diluted in
yeah.
terms of what it used to be.
Yes,
But
yes, it is. Yeah.
there's places for a little bit of light relief, isn't there? In
I
amongst
think
it all.
so. I think, as much as the demographic for Download do love, obviously love their metal, love their heavy rock. I'm gonna put forward a petition to get Aqua there next year.
They used to do it at Sonosphere Festival. They used to always have like a bit of an ironic booking. So they had Bjorn again, the ABBA tribute, the first year,
Yeah.
and they had the bootleg Beatles the second year, and it was full on 80,000 metalheads singing "Hey Jude" in the middle of a sunny afternoon, and it was just a really memorable moment.
Yeah, what more do you want? I mean, I
Exactly.
remember when Status Quo played, I think that was 14, 15,
14. Yeah, they headlined the
and
second
that
stage.
was, yeah, that was amazing. Everyone singing Status Quo. It's like you're not old enough to know Quo. Well, how are you singing this?
No, it's
Yeah, no, I
wonderful.
think Aqua for 2026.
Get that petition going, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks again for joining us, Ray. I've really appreciated it. And I said early on when we started the podcast, you were absolutely, number one on the top of my list to interview, and the other things
Thank you
unfortunately
for
happened. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really
no,
glad
thank
you
you for
came.
inviting me. It's really nice that Access are getting more mainstream, I guess, and like, people want to talk to us. It's fantastic.
No, I mean, it's fascinating to hear, and it's really heartening to hear that, things are in place that makes it possible and enjoyable
Yeah,
for everyone as part of your group. So,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm really, really pleased. So
Great.
yeah, well, are you happy? Is there anything else you want to say before we round up? Or
No, I think you've covered everything. Just join the Facebook group if you want to have a good time and you like ducks. That's probably the most important thing.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it's the Disabled Camp and Access Group hyphen Download Festival. If anyone is looking for where to go, and there's also a wealth of information on the official Download website as well these days, which is good to see. I've been
Yeah,
reading all the PDF guides and stuff and learning more about that. So, and even if you're not someone with access needs, I think it's really good to have that knowledge and look around and how we able-bodied people are able to help out where we can, not standing on
yeah,
the walkways when you're watching bands. If people need to get past
absolutely.
you, help
Yeah,
out where you can, because I think it is a family and a community, and we can all look out for each other.
absolutely. 100%.
No, thanks very much, Ray, and I'll chat to you again on Facebook, and I hope you have a
See
great
you in
spring. And
June.
yeah, see you in June, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers.
See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
This is the Lowdown Podcast.
So another thanks to Ree for joining us for a chat. I thought it was really interesting, all the points covered about everything she does for the Download community, everything the community does for Download, and everything Download does for the community. It kind of goes so many different ways with the Access community and for the Download family in general. So I hope you enjoyed listening to a bit of, another, critical and, valued part of our family at Download. I hope it answered some questions, or if you're someone who may need to use those facilities in the future, I really hope this has been a good source of information for you, and that page on Facebook will be an absolute fountain of knowledge if you need it. So please look up that page if you want to join. And thanks again for listening. We'll have Johnny back with us next week. We're going to start breaking down the bands of Saturday, starting with Opus and Apex. And yeah, we are rolling on now. We're just over 80 days, I think, to Download 2025. We're starting to get really excited. There's lots of fun things coming along. Please leave your comments if you've got any questions for me and Johnny to answer next time. We've really enjoyed all the engagement from people this week, as we do always. And yeah, thanks again for listening, following, all that sort of stuff. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
This is the Lowdown Podcast.